Two wealthy heiresses, sisters. One brings home the love of her life to meet her sister, fade out and fade back in. He is married to the opposite sister, going on a honeymoon to Egypt, being on a journey with a lot of other prominent people with whom they've interacted. There's a lot of things going on in this one. No less than Betty Davis, Peter Ustinov, Angela Lansbury, Mia Farrow. The list goes on and on. Everybody in it is somebody, if that makes sense. From the novel by Agatha Christie in 1937, this is 1978, Death on the Nile. Death on the Nile is one of those incredible timeless novels and stories. It comes from this era of mystery and murder mystery fiction. He would go on to be almost the new Sherlock Holmes, the great Belgian detective Hercule Poirot. I probably said that wrong. Hercule Poirot, played by Peter Ustinov from the Agatha Christie novel. You get the classic sort of setup of the murder mystery. They're on a ship. They're in an exotic location, a whole lot of exotic people, and there's a lot of people with motives. There's greedy people involved in a lawsuit over one's reputation versus another. Someone is covetous over the pearls being worn by this woman. There's the love triangle of the jilted lover who is left in the wings when her lover marries her sister. There's all of this money involved, and therefore there are lawyers and attorneys and estate brokers, you name it. There are people who are greedy for the money, greedy for the love, greedy for revenge, greedy for... And of course, in the midst of it, murder most foul. Who did it? Now, because I was new to this, I had not ever seen any version of this in cinema. I know there's a more recent one, made me think of it. The old one, 78, that I watched is included with YouTube Premium. If you got that, probably find it other places. Not being familiar with it, I did not know the story. Therefore, I had the pleasantness of surprise, and therefore I will give that to you. No spoilers. If you have not seen this, see it, because it does take a lot of twists and turns. And if you've seen enough of these things, you know to go through sort of the checkbox of that's too obvious, and yet it might just be, and yet they managed to completely, Agatha Christie's story managed to completely surprise me by the time we got there. There's a solid 2 hours of good entertainment, of a puzzle that you're able to piece together. It moves from scene to scene. It does not do anything confusing. This is not the age of the multiverse. It is not the piecing together of random clues, but we are very much given how people of the era would politely introduce themselves to one another, how they knew each other from other venues as prominent people. The brief discussions they have begin to build, and we see Hercule Poirot as the investigator, ever the clever detective, is always focused on what people are saying, how they're feeling, and how they're interacting with each other, even before any crime is committed. It pays to stay alert when you're in law enforcement, and he does an amazing job. And what can you say? Peter Ustinov, who's been in everything from well before I was born and always just stood out as an incredible, incredible actor. But again, everybody in it has a resume that speaks well of them, and they all do a fabulous job in the performance of it. But it is that unique type of murder mystery, the sort of thing that Clue would make fun of much later, humorously, the sort of thing that board games have been based on since. It is part of the culture that it is uniquely its own genre. And I was actually surprised the degree to which I enjoyed it, being that it's not my typical genre. Very well done. I can't speak well enough of giving you the exotic environment, the way they portrayed it, which is perfect for the era in which it is set, and it has a certain spectacle to it. You feel like you've gone down the Nile with them, and you've seen the sights, and you see the story unfold, and in the end you find out who done it. Definitely worth time watching. I went back and watched a little bit of it as a palate cleanse after watching The Sweetest Thing. But check it out, find it on YouTube Premium. Let me know what you think. I haven't seen the more recent one to know how it measures up, But this classic one, it doesn't get better than that cast, that time, and it comes together so well. Death on the Nile.